Hello, everyone. News Channel 3, Chief Meteorologist Keith Thompson here with the Facebook Live update, joined by Will Haney, Facebook and YouTube Live update, Facebook and YouTube Live update. I'm joined by Will Haney. I'm in the digital studio, and Will is in the News Channel 3 studio at the Weather Center. So we're just sort of going to go over, right? Am I right? Okay. I don't know if I can hear Will or not.
Hey, Keith, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, good.
Sorry, I was doing some hand motions to our director, Jim, who just walked in that we were live.
Okay. All right. That's cool. So what we're going to do here is we're just basically going to go over our storm setup here. You're looking at live Doppler radar right now on our 100-mile scan here. And by the way, probably not going to be able to say as much on the interaction as I like to do. Hello to you, Chris, though, in the OC. Hello to Laura. Thank you for checking in there from the Sunshine State. Appreciate that. And Shannon, hello to you. Let's get right to it and talk about what's going on here. And I guess really the headline, not to bury the lead, as they say, but that the trends are certainly favoring a quiet night for us in West Michigan. I always am afraid to say that for fear of jinxing, although I don't believe in that stuff. But I don't want to poke. I do. I don't want to poke the bear. That's for sure. I don't want to poke the bear. But right now, and for reasons that we'll explain here about the next 15 minutes or so, Carla, thanks for that. Hello to you, Melissa and Bronson. Thanks. Coldwater in the house. Craig, thanks. For reasons that we'll explain here, it does look like things are going to be fairly quiet for us for tonight, and we might skate by without any kind of severe weather. What you're looking at now is radar. You can see some thunderstorms that are heading out of Milwaukee, And as I zoom out just a bit, these are moving to the northeast, right? So with that trajectory in mind, this is going to put these storms maybe up toward Pentwater. Oceana County might see some of this, but more toward Cadillac, Traverse City. And, the forecast models, Will and I were discussing this over the last couple of days, really have suggested more, certainly the last 24 hours, have suggested a little bit more that things will be more active, let's say in the northern lower, than they will be in our neck of the woods. I'm not going to say that every model run showed that, because obviously if that was the case, we would have never really had our guard up. But I don't think that, in my opinion anyway, this is surprising to see some of these storms headed toward the northern part of the lower. Now, as we look off to the southwest, this is not reason number one is in the most important reason, but this is a big reason why it's looking like so far we're not going to get anything. If we were going to be seeing any activity here in West Michigan, we should be seeing things starting to really pop, if not already be popping in Illinois here. Let's say central Illinois, northeastern Illinois, maybe a line of thunderstorms there. But that's not happening. It does look like from our lightning detector there might be one or two cells down there. And there's definitely, Will's driving there. Thank you so much. Right around Peoria. There's definitely a line there maybe, that you can sort of sense a little bit. And I don't know if I think that's the front. We talked about that, Will.
Yeah, it is. It is, Keith. I was going to just say that. So that little kind of leading edge of some showers and storms right near Peoria. Yeah. Not overly impressive, but that would definitely be the front right there.
That should be, if we were going to have an explosive night, they should be exploding right there right now.
Yeah.
And they're not. And there are reasons for that, by the way. Some of the same, let's say, mitigating or conditional reasons that we have been talking about. Will did a good job of that at 5 and 6 tonight, of explaining these are the things that are factors that would inhibit, severe thunderstorm or thunderstorm development even. So that's what's happening right now. So we'll chime in anytime, by the way, that you want to.
Yeah. I was just kind of drawing. That's a not very straight front, but
it's roughly
that's about where the front is, and so
it's roughly.
Yeah.
And once that passes our area, obviously, and that's noted on the forecast models, I think, I don't remember exactly when, to be honest with you, sometime between 2 and 5 a.m. I don't remember exactly when it is. And we'll see the wind shift. But certainly by the time we get to dawn tomorrow, before then, our threat will be over. And so I'm going to move on here to the latest model run here. This is the HRRR, the High Resolution Rapid Refresh, and this seems to be the model of choice. The reason, by the way, is because it seems to have a best handle on what's happening right now. It initializes well. It seems to have a good idea, a good handle on what's happening right now. So I'm going to run this forward and stop it here at 11. Notice things are again on that trajectory going up to the north. So Big Rapids north, so up around Cadillac, Lake City, some active weather. But look, here in West Michigan at 11 o'clock, when you would expect to, if not see things happening here, you would expect to see things coming across the lake. I don't see it. So I'm going to run here from 11 o'clock and run it to 1 in the morning. And once again, I mean, there is just nothing that is showing up. Maybe a little activity here at 3. And this would probably be right along that front, right? Because look at Muskegon at 46. I don't know, Will, you just took yourself out. I don't know what happened there. So I'm going to keep going. And so you can see there that cooler air. Oh, hold on. Let me put it back in. All right, you're back.
I don't know. It kicked me out for some weird reason.
That's okay. I didn't do it. I promise. I did not kick Will out of the room.
Yeah.
So what I was saying is this is at 3 a.m. I think this is really as the front is starting to push through. You see Muskegon at 46. You see Grand Rapids at 61, right? If you take I-96, it's about 35, 40 miles. That's 15 degrees. So obviously we have the cooler air starting to punch in there. And then by the time we get to 7 a.m., I mean, everything is cleared out. I mean, maybe some leftover like showers or something, damp, but the cooler air is in place. So, Will, you want to take it? You want to do what do you got?
I don't have much to add with the hour by hour, but I think you touched on it well that, we look at a lot of different models, some better resolution as far as kind of the detail they provide. And those are ones that are updated more frequently throughout the day. And for that reason, they don't project as far into the future. So this model that Keith is showing has the best handle on what's happening right now. And so, the way I always put it is if a weather model is spitting out junk essentially when it's starting out and then projecting from there, you're going to get junk moving forward. So this one has the best handle on the storms that are out there now, mainly over the lake, farther north, where it doesn't show much happening across Illinois. But basically that entire area off to our south, we were talking about, Keith, you mentioned it, it was just too capped, I think. Basically, The environment never really recovered this afternoon. It was definitely warm, definitely humid, but I also think that front is pretty slow moving. I don't know if that has anything to do with it as well, but we talked about what the cap is at 5 and 6 tonight, and basically it's just a layer of slightly warmer air aloft that kind of noses in. And when you think about it, you need warm air rising into a cooler air mass aloft to get really rapid rising motion with thunderstorm development. So if you have a layer of warmer air aloft, it's going to prevent that rising motion, or it's going to cap it, or almost like act like a lid, right, on that vertical rising motion. And so I think I don't think that cap was really overcome today. And farther south was our best shot of, what Keith was saying, seeing a more impressive area of storms that would eventually push into our area around, some of the earlier projections was around like 11 and midnight, but the fact that there's very little off to our southwest right now, and we're not seeing that explosive growth right now in portions of central Illinois, is definitely a good sign for us. We'll still have to watch some of these cells farther north, but these are all elevated thunderstorms, I believe, Keith.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The national weather, and they're not organized. These are just messy thunderstorms on radar. They're not showing any like classic indications of severe storms. The National Weather Service, I think, did mention that this cell, kind of halfway between Milwaukee and Pentwater, may have some I think pea or penny-sized hail, but that's about it. And that's probably the strongest of them. Some of these cells, like this one near Pentwater, might have some very small hail right on Silver Lake right now. I always like looking at Silver Lake, Keith, on satellite, because you can point it out. It's that little yellow point right there, which is one of my favorite places in the state. But anyways, so I think we're in a pretty good spot overall. And like you said, Keith, I don't want to jinx it either, but some of the latest projections I think are pretty favorable that we don't see too much in the way of severe storms tonight.
Well, and I think it also speaks to how many things have to come together at the right time in order to have severe weather. And so in this particular case, that cap Because if I'm not mistaken, Will, from what we were looking at earlier today, our Cape is probably on the way down now.
It is, yeah,
and
for
so
sure.
That Cape, by the way, is talking about the potential energy in the atmosphere for, for lifting, for convective development, and that peaked earlier today, but we didn't have, but the cap was in place, and the front is slower, so our lifting mechanism is a little bit further back. So everything I don't think is coming into, it's just not happening all at the right time, or in my opinion, it's all happening at a perfect time, because I don't want severe weather.
Yeah.
So if the Cape is indeed falling, or getting or lessening, then that even is more, nothing violent is likely to occur.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what we're looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's sort of but as a result, I think that, again, I like what Will said. It doesn't mean that we're not going to see any thunderstorms. We'll just go through the model run one more time. It doesn't mean we're not going to see any thunderstorms. At 11 o'clock, it doesn't look like there's going to be too much going on, just some showers. Again, if you're north of, let's say, US 10, up closer to like Lake City and Cadillac, then, there's some thunderstorms up there. And then here's 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe some rumbles going on around 3. But again, this would just be a couple of isolated thunderstorms. This does not look imposing at all. So,
yeah,
I think that's what we've got. 6 hours ago, we thought that on a Facebook and YouTube live here at 9 o'clock, 9:30, that we might be tracking some severe weather.
Yeah.
But that's just not the case. And once it goes by the way, we're going to have much cooler weather. Today's high, 77 in Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
Tied for the highest that we've had so far this year. And we had some 80s, right, Will?
Three Rivers, Sturgis, and I believe Coldwater all hit 80s today. I think Three Rivers was up to 81 for a high. Yeah. So those are those locations' first 80s of the year. It's I was coming back from dinner, Keith, and it was like, oh man, it was such a nice night out there, because it was just kind of like it gave me that little taste of summer, because it was still almost a little humid, still very warm, and I was like, man, a bonfire sounds perfect right now.
We'll have one out in the parking lot.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Looking ahead just real quick, just to sort of go over what's coming up next. You see the temps right now. We're still very warm. And again, just to go over the fact that there are multiple things that have to come together for severe weather, like what we had 2.5 weeks ago on Sunday night when Will and Will was in here. I was helping Will out. Everything has to come together. It's not just a matter of, we talk about the clash of the air masses, but there are other things than just cold and warm air that have to be in place. And this is a prime example of that. And, Will, I think it's fair to say even a day or two ago, this was looking to be what we would call conditional.
Yeah.
A conditional event, meaning that there are some mitigating factors that might cause this to not really happen, on a large scale, or to be very, very strong. And I'll tell you one, that I feel like has worked out a lot. But, again, anything overnight, especially at this time of year in April, I think is very difficult for the atmosphere to be that explosive, if you will, in an overnight in April.
Yeah. Sorry, Keith. Hopefully you can't hear that. They're playing through some of the show. So.
Oh no, I can't hear.
Go turn down the speaker. But, Keith, I also was thinking too. Yesterday we were looking at some of the model data, and it was suggesting some decently strong storms in the morning. And you even said to me at one point, you're like, oh man, Jeff might end up busier than we are at nightside. And I do wonder if, I think that also may have played into it. The fact that we did have kind of a stronger round this morning. Those storms didn't really verify. We were talking about, Keith, we didn't see any 60 plus mile an hour wind gust reports. We didn't see any 1-inch hail reports, but they still did receive those warnings. And they, on radar, were looking possibly capable of some of those things. So I also think that could have inhibited further development later in the day. The fact that we saw kind of a stronger round in the morning. We oftentimes talk about that too, Keith, like with these sort of days where, it's highly dependent on what happens earlier in the day. And this was like one of those classic days in that sense that I think some of the morning clouds and storms had a big effect on this later in the day.
Which is what happened a couple of weeks ago on Wednesday when we ended up having that flooding rain.
Yeah.
And then most of the area didn't have much. Branch County had 2 tornadoes late that night, but it wasn't widespread in West Michigan. And I think that the rain and it acts to stabilize the atmosphere. And so the atmosphere has to basically recharge from those showers that we had this morning. So that was yet another mitigating factor. But we still had some factors. For example, a lot of wind aloft. We had a lot of wind shear. We do have a triggering mechanism coming through. So it's not like there wasn't anything suggesting that we could have severe weather. It was just you had, factors that are like this. And I can tell you, anybody in the weather office is wanting it to be one way or the other. It's like, can we just have some kind of clarity one way or the other? Because when we don't want to tell people to let your guard down when there are still some elements in the atmosphere, some parameters that are present that would suggest that there could be severe weather. Mm-hmm. But this one, I know even Jeff this morning, I talked to Jeff this morning, and even last night, we leave messages for each other. Will does the same thing. Colin does the same thing. We leave messages for each other when we do a shift change because we don't usually see each other on the shift changes. So we leave messages. And I know that Jeff left a message that basically was, I don't think you're going to be very busy tonight, And so there you are. And you're right. He was busier this morning than it looks like. Again, I don't want to say it's all over yet. I won't until the front comes through, until the wind shifts, and we're out of it. But for now, it's looking like there isn't going to be much to this.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else? Because if you don't, then I guess we'll call it a night.
Well, really quickly, Keith, let me see.
Yeah.
Did you update the weekend forecast?
If you go up to the top, I think there's a decent chance of some afternoon showers. Here, I can get up there, I think.
Right here. What are you looking? Oh, you're on Splashdown.
Huh?
I didn't realize you could do what you're doing right now on the computer.
I'm doing this with this iPad, isn't it? I mean, the 21st century is going to be great. That's my mantra.
What are you looking for, Keith?
If I can just get there. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Oh, no. No.
Here, which one are you looking? Here, I got it.
Oh,
are you
see what I'm doing? Huh?
Wait, don't touch.
Okay. Do you see it? It's right under temperature.
Yeah. This one, the weekend one?
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for.
So I think we're going to be in the mid-50s Saturday. Right now it doesn't look like, outside of maybe some early morning showers, I think we're just going to be cloudy and sort of cool and breezy on Saturday. Sunday, I think that there will be some showers developing, but it looks like it's more later in the day than in the early part of the day, which means, I don't think that Sunday, which is the 20th, is going to be necessarily a washout. I think especially earlier in the day, you have a better chance of getting outside and doing something. There'll probably be mud, or damp. But now later in the day, we do have another system that's going to be coming through, and it gives us a pretty good chance for some rain Monday. And I think we might get an early start on that later in the day on Sunday.
For sure. Yeah, it was a bummer when that forecast changed a few days ago. It was looking really nice for Easter, and now that front, it's all thanks to that front.
It is.
It's just stalling. It's not moving through as quickly, and it just kind of stalls to our south.
And that's one reason why you really have to stay with us every day, because on Monday it looked like this was a no-brainer for Easter weekend. I was overjoyed because I know that it's a big weekend for folks. They want to get outside, they want to enjoy some sunshine, and it was going to be comfortably cool. And it was just, I was happy to report that Saturday, Sunday are looking good. Tuesday's model runs were like, that front's starting to stall, too close to the border. By Wednesday, it's like, you've got to be kidding me. And then by yesterday and today, it's like, well, you're not kidding. So unfortunately, now I will say this, I think it's going to be worse to our south. I think Northern Indiana is going to have a worse Easter than what we're going to have. So
suckers, just kidding.
I know. So, we always are looking for somebody who's got a little bit worse than us. So in this case, In this case, I think northern Indiana might have a little worse. And in fact, I saw some projections, I think earlier today, that northern Indiana might end up with some heavy rain with that stalled front just up to the south. So
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. But happy Easter. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you, Easter Bunny Keith.
Well, Will and I are going to be live at 10 on ARC, and I think live at 11, even if there's not as much going on as we thought there would be. At least
am I going to still be live, Keith? We got to figure that out.
I think so. The producer thinks that we're going to be live, and so does the director. And so probably they would not be very happy if we say, we're changing our mind.
Okay.
So we'll find something to talk about. I mean, again, the thread is still there. It just doesn't look to be as great as it was. So I don't have anything else. Will, do you?
Nope.
All right. Hey, I want to say thanks to everybody for being here. There's a last look at the radar. Yep. So again, just what we were saying, that stuff that's moving out of Milwaukee headed toward Pentwater, it looks like there might be some development to the south of that. So, Grant there, northern Muskegon County might get brushed by some of this. We're going to keep an eye on that stuff that's developing. You can see that line trying, but try as it may to develop, it just doesn't look like it is. In fact, it's falling apart west of Chicago and southwest of Chicago. So, and again, I think that speaks to some things in the atmosphere that are just stopping it from developing. But we're going to keep an eye on these. And if they do develop, of course, we'll let you know. But the trend is certainly our friend right now. All right. Thanks again, everybody, for joining in. Hope to see you live at 10 on ARC, live at 11 on News Channel 3. We'll both be there. Colin will be here in the morning, and he'll have an update as well. If we have anything popping overnight, by the way, we are prepared. We're staffed all night long in the weather office. So if nothing's going on, then you can see Colin at 6 o'clock in the morning on News Channel 3 from 6 to 10. If something is going on, believe me, you'll see Colin, and you might see one of us as well. All right. So thanks again, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night.